You call yourself a perfectionist. You wear it like a badge of honor. But what if I told you that your perfectionism is actually a sophisticated form of self-sabotage? What if that relentless pursuit of flawlessness is really just fear dressed in acceptable clothing? You are not afraid of failure. You are terrified of your own greatness. Carl Jung understood something about human nature that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. He saw that within every person exists unlimited potential, and that this potential is precisely what terrifies us most. Fear disguised as perfection. Today we're going to dismantle the perfectionist mask and expose what's really hiding underneath. We'll explore why you unconsciously sabotage your success, why you procrastinate on your dreams, and why you set impossible standards that guarantee you'll never have to fully show up. By the end of this video, you'll understand the shadow of your own power and how to finally stop running from it. The perfectionist lie. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Perfectionism is not about high standards. It's about fear of judgment. Think about the last time you delayed starting a project because the conditions weren't right. The last time you rewrote an email 15 times before sending it. The last time you didn't share your creative work because it wasn't perfect yet. What were you really protecting yourself from? Perfectionism is not the same thing as striving to be your best. Perfectionism is the belief that if we live perfect, look perfect, and act perfect, we can minimize or avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame. Research by psychologist Thomas Curran shows that perfectionism has increased by 33% over the last 3 decades. We're becoming a society of people hiding behind impossible standards. But here's what Jung would point out. This perfectionism isn't protecting you from external judgment. It's protecting you from confronting your own potential. Because if you never finish, if you never truly try, if you never fully commit, then you never have to discover just how powerful you actually are. And that discovery is what terrifies you most. But why would your own power frighten you? The shadow of power. Carl Jung introduced the concept of the shadow, the part of ourselves that we repress, deny, and refuse to acknowledge. We typically think of the shadow as containing our dark impulses, our anger, our jealousy, our destructive tendencies. But Jung revealed something even more disturbing. Your shadow also contains your gold, your untapped potential, your brilliance, your capacity for greatness. Jung called this the golden shadow, and it's the part of you that you've been running from your entire life. Think about someone you deeply admire, someone whose talent or charisma or success fills you with awe and perhaps a tinge of envy. The qualities you see in them exist dormant within you. That's why they trigger you. That's why you oscillate between admiration and resentment when you see them succeed. You're not envious of their achievements. You're terrified of what it would mean to claim your own. Your greatness terrifies you. If this is starting to make you uncomfortable, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring the depths of your psyche with me. Because what comes next goes even deeper into why you sabotage yourself. Fear of success. Here's the paradox that perfectionism creates. You tell yourself you want success. You dream about it. You make vision boards and set goals. But every time you get close, something happens. You pick a fight with the person who could help you most. You miss the deadline by one day. You suddenly develop an illness or crisis right before the big opportunity. This isn't bad luck. This is your psyche protecting itself from transformation. The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Success requires transformation, and transformation requires the death of your current identity. The person who achieves your dreams cannot be the same person you are today. That person will face new challenges, new responsibilities, new levels of visibility. And your unconscious mind, whose primary job is to keep you safe, interprets transformation as threat, danger. So it creates obstacles. It whispers that you need more preparation, more credentials, more perfect conditions. It generates anxiety that paralyzes you, all to keep you safely contained in your current limited identity. But what exactly does your psyche think it's protecting you from? Marianne's truth. Marianne Williamson captured this psychological truth in words that have resonated with millions. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Read that again. Your deepest fear is not that you're not enough. Your deepest fear is that you are actually extraordinary, and that this would require you to live differently. Think about what would change if you fully owned your power. You could no longer play small. You could no longer hide behind excuses. You could no longer blame circumstances or other people for your unfulfilled potential. Playing small serves no one. Williamson continued, "There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. And yet, this is exactly what perfectionism accomplishes. It lets you shrink under the guise of having high standards. But this avoidance has a price that you pay every single day. The hidden cost." A study by Bronnie Ware, a palliative care nurse who spent years with dying patients, revealed that the number one regret of the dying was this: "I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself. Not the life others expected of me. Not I wish I had worked harder. Not I wish I had been more perfect. I wish I had the courage to be myself." Every day you spend perfecting, polishing, and preparing is a day you don't spend actually living. Every project you don't finish, every word you don't speak, every risk you don't take, these accumulate into a lifetime of unlived potential. And your soul knows it. That low-grade anxiety you feel, that sense that something is wrong even when everything is fine, that's the gap between who you are and who you're capable of becoming. Jung called this the unlived life, and he warned that nothing haunts us more. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on their environment, and especially on their children, than the unlived life of the parent. Your playing small doesn't just affect you, it affects everyone who needs your gifts. Speaking of which, what exactly does it mean to step into your power? Individuation path. Jung described the journey of becoming your true self as individuation, the process of integrating all parts of yourself, including the parts you've hidden away. This isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming whole. Whole, not perfect. Individuation requires confronting your shadow, both the dark elements you've repressed and the golden potential you've denied. It requires acknowledging that the brilliant leader, the creative genius, the powerful presence you admire in others, these are all projections of what exists unactivated within you. The goal is not to become someone else, but to become fully yourself. This is deeply uncomfortable work. It means sitting with the anxiety of visibility. It means tolerating the vulnerability of imperfection. It means risking rejection, criticism, and failure, all the things perfectionism promised to protect you from. But here's what Jung discovered: the alternative is worse. The alternative is a life of quiet desperation, a life of watching others live while you prepare, a life of potential that dies as possibility. So how do you actually begin this journey of reclaiming your power? The imperfect act. The antidote to perfectionism is not lowering your standards. It's taking imperfect action. Now, consider this. Every masterpiece you admire was once a rough draft. Every expert was once a beginner making embarrassing mistakes. Every success story includes chapters of failure, rejection, and public imperfection. 1. Done is better than perfect. 2. Progress beats preparation. 3. Action creates clarity. 4. Failure teaches faster than theory. The writer who publishes imperfect books becomes a better writer than the one who endlessly edits a manuscript no one will read. The entrepreneur who launches flawed products learns more than the one still perfecting their business plan. Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command. The perfectionist believes they are protecting their future success by preparing more thoroughly, but they're actually preventing it. Because success isn't found in preparation, it's found in participation. Your next level of growth requires your current level of imperfection, but there's something even more fundamental you must understand about why you hide. The approval trap. Underneath perfectionism is an even deeper fear, the fear of not being loved. When you were young, you learned which behaviors earned approval and which earned rejection. You learned to hide the parts of yourself that weren't acceptable. You learned that love was conditional, earned through performance, achievement, and meeting expectations. Conditional love creates conditional selves, so you developed a perfectionist mask. Not because you genuinely believe everything must be flawless, but because imperfection feels like it risks abandonment. This is what psychologists call contingent self-worth. Your value depends on external validation. And it's exhausting, because you can never rest, you can never relax, you can never just be. There's always another standard to meet, another person to impress, another flaw to fix. But here's the liberation Jung offers. Your worth isn't determined by your achievements. Your worth isn't contingent on others' approval. Your worth exists simply because you exist, not because of what you produce, not because of how you perform, but because of who you are. And who you are includes everything, the perfect and the imperfect. So what would it look like to actually integrate this understanding? Reclaiming power. Here's how you begin reclaiming the power you've been running from. First, notice when you're using perfectionism as a delay tactic. Ask yourself, am I genuinely improving this, or am I hiding from completion? Second, practice what I call intentional imperfection. Deliberately do things at 80% and observe what happens. Send the email without the 15th revision. Share the creative work before it's ready. Speak your idea before you've perfected the presentation. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Third, identify your golden shadow. Who do you admire most? What qualities in them trigger both inspiration and discomfort? These qualities are yours to develop. They're not accidents, they're mirrors. Fourth, reframe failure. Failure equals data, not identity. Every failure is information. Every rejection is redirection. Every imperfect attempt builds the skills your perfectionism prevented you from developing. Finally, make a commitment to visibility over perfection. The world doesn't need your perfect self. The world needs your real self. But there's one final truth you must confront. The final truth. The deepest truth about your perfectionism is this: you already know you're capable of more. You already know you've been playing small. You already know that your standards are actually shields. This knowledge is why you clicked on this video. Something in you recognized the title. Something in you knows that perfectionism is not who you are, it's who you've been hiding behind. Jung spent his entire life exploring the depths of the human psyche, and he concluded that the purpose of existence is to bring the unconscious into consciousness, to integrate what we've denied, to become whole. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Your perfectionism has been directing your life. Your fear of your own power has been making decisions for you, but now you see it. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Awareness is the first liberation. The question now is simple. What will you do with this awareness? Will you continue perfecting your hiding? Or will you finally step into the light you've been avoiding? You are not a perfectionist. You are a powerful being who has been using perfectionism as a sophisticated avoidance strategy. You've been hiding from your own greatness under the guise of high standards. You've been protecting yourself from transformation by demanding impossible conditions before you'll begin. But today that pattern becomes visible, and what is visible can be changed. Your golden shadow is waiting to be integrated. Your untapped potential is waiting to be claimed. The only person standing between you and your power is the version of you still committed to perfection over presence. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. If you made it this far, comment power claimed if you're ready to stop hiding behind perfectionism and start living as your full self. Welcome to the Psyche Project. If this changed how you see yourself, hit like and subscribe. Understanding your psyche is the work of a lifetime. See you in the next video.